Hi, my name is Randy Agert, and this is for the class Bad Words and Taboo Terms. This is the fourth in a series of videos on the taxonomy of swearing, and this time we're going to be looking at the class of invectives. And this is a class that is a social use of taboo words and primarily to insult somebody. And I should add that, as I said with the emotives, where it can be simultaneously propositional and emotive, this can also be propositional. And of course, it can also be emotive simultaneously. So it can be all three, propositional, emotive, and invective, all at the same time. But here, I'm specifically interested in uses of taboo words where the primary purpose seems to be to insult. And the first of the subcategories is going to be name calling. This is where you say to somebody else's face, you call them a slur. You say, you are such a, or you, right? And so it could be you're calling them a motherfucker, or a son of a bitch, or a bastard, right? Or you might call a woman a bitch or a slut, right? So in those cases, you're saying it to their face, you're saying, you're such a slut, you're such a bastard, you're such a cock, right? So in those cases, you are calling them a name to their face. The second of our subcategories of invectives are pejoratives, and this is very similar. This is the use of slurs to insult somebody in the third person. And I think it's important to make this distinction because although most slurs can be used in both, a name calling and a pejorative fashion, so you can say that guy is such a bastard, or you can say you are such a bastard. But there are certain slurs that seem to be reserved specifically for one or the other. And so one I can think of that seems to be a pejorative that's not typically used as a name calling in name calling is butterface, right? Which is a horrible term, and for those of you who don't know what the term means, it's a slur directed at a woman, and it's saying that she would be really attractive if it weren't for her face, but for her face, butterface. But it's not something you typically would say to somebody's face, you're such a butterface. You would usually say it in a pejorative, like she is such a butterface. And so in that case, I do think it's important to make this distinction between pejoratives and name calling. And then the third class of invectives are the maledictives. These are just the grab bag, the other uses of taboo words to insult. So, for example, you can say, go to hell, damn you, right? So those qualify as cursing, but they are also a sort of maledictive. And so just as we saw with the taxonomy of taboo words, there can be an overlap between these classes as well. But then we have some others that are specifically maledictives that don't seem to be cursing, like fuck you, right? There doesn't seem to be any curse there. It's just a way of insulting somebody. So we do have other forms of maledictives as well. An older one would be the one I've got there, the hell with you. So these are other ways of insulting people or things.